So, before we get started, I just wanted to thank you for tuning in to our very first Halloween episode here on They Are Watching Us. We hope you stay safe out there tonight while out trick-or-treating and enjoying your Halloween night. A wave of hysteria swept through colonial America, and within months, 20 lives were gone, hundreds imprisoned, and a community changed forever. The Salem Witch Trials weren't just a tragedy, they were a mirror showing how fear can destroy the human soul. Alright, so let's take a little trip back to the late 1600s. Yeah, picture this, Salem Village, right in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. It was a Puritan community, and let me tell you, life wasn't exactly a walk in the park. We're talking about some serious struggles, like brutal winters that could freeze your socks off, money troubles, and folks getting super intense about their religious beliefs. Plus, there were all these land disputes and neighbors not getting along. You know how it goes. Everyone's on edge. And with all that, there were also some wild fears about the supernatural. Like, people were really spooked about what was lurking in the shadows. It's no wonder things got a bit crazy there. Witch hunting has been a thing in Europe for ages, especially between the 15th and 17th centuries. By the time the whole Salem situation kicked off, the big witch craze in Europe was kind of fading out. But like the fear of witchcraft and all that drama was still super fresh in New England. It was just hanging around. Let's take a trip back to January 1692. So, check this out. Reverend Samuel Parris's daughter, Elizabeth, and his niece, Abigail Williams, along with some other young gals, started acting super weird. I'm talking fits, crazy contortions, wild visions, and they were throwing around accusations of being bewitched. It was a real scene, and everyone was freaked out. Like, who's behind all this madness? That's when the first official witchcraft accusations started flying around the village. Among the earliest accused was an enslaved woman of Parris's household, Tituba, who confessed after interrogation to witchcraft, spoken of the devil, and accused others. The court accepted testimonies of visions, dreams, and spectral evidence, the claim that the devil or the witch's spirit appeared to afflict someone, a principle that would prove terribly harmful in the trials. As the year progressed, more than 200 people would eventually be accused of practicing witchcraft in the colony. The typical pattern: one or more afflicted persons, usually young women, would claim to be tortured by invisible forces, point to a suspect. The suspect would be examined, sometimes imprisoned, sometimes confessing or recanting, sometimes naming others. Long-standing neighborly grudges, economic competition, family feuds, and religious tensions all played a background role. Back in 1692, they set up this court called the Oyer and Terminer, which basically means to hear and determine stuff. The first person to get the axe, literally, was Bridget Bishop, who was hanged on June 10, 1692. Now, from June to September of that same year, a total of 19 people, 14 women and 5 men, were executed by hanging. This one guy, Giles Corey, who had a really rough time. He refused to enter a plea, and they ended up pressing him to death by piling heavy stones on him. Witch hunting has been a thing in Europe for ages, especially between the 15th and 17th centuries. By the time the whole Salem situation kicked off, the big witch craze in Europe was kind of fading out. But like the fear of witchcraft and all that drama was still super fresh in New England. By late 1692, public opinion began shifting. Prominent individuals raised concerns about the reliability of the evidence and the extreme nature of the prosecutions. The Massachusetts governor and colony leadership eventually intervened. The Court of Oyer and Terminer was dissolved in October 1692, and in 1693, a new court, the Superior Court of Judicature, rejected spectral evidence and gradually ended the trials. Alright, so here's the scoop. A while back, in 1711 to be exact, the Massachusetts General Court decided to pass a law that helped clear the names of some folks who were accused back in the day. Not everyone got named right away, But hey, it was a start. Over time, those infamous trials turned into a bit of a cautionary tale, you know? It's all about due process, mass hysteria, and how people sometimes just need a scapegoat. There were some folks like Martha Carrier and Margaret Scott who got caught up in a whole mess of accusations back in the day. It's wild how things like neighbor drama, keeping up appearances, money troubles, and religious vibes all mixed together, leading to these accusations. Can you believe it? It's estimated that between 150 to 200 people, or even more, found themselves on the chopping block. Some say it was over 200 during the craziest times. Goes to show how complicated things can get. Most of the executed were women, consistent with patterns of witch hunts in Europe. The Puritan worldview held that witches were in league with Satan, capable of spiritual harm, and that a community's stability demanded rooting them out. Also, many accused were socially marginal, poor, widowed, outspoken, or otherwise vulnerable, though not exclusively. The trials also reflect neighborly animosities, property disputes, and religious divisions. Let's talk about the Jonathan Corwin house. This place is super special because it's the only building left that's got direct connections to the witch trials. Now, just to be clear, no witches actually lived there, but Judge Jonathan Corwin, one of the big shots in the trials, called this place home. And get this, the real execution spot. It's called Proctor's Ledge. People who visit say there's this heavy, sad vibe hanging around there. So, if you're ever in Salem, definitely check it out. Let's talk about Liberty Street in Salem. What's there? The Salem Witch Trials Memorial. It's pretty simple, just some granite benches, but each one has the name of a victim, how they were executed, and when it all went down. It's right next to the old Burying Point Cemetery. This memorial really hits you, reminding everyone about the real human cost of all that craziness back in the day. It's a powerful spot, for sure. So, if you're ever in Salem, you should definitely check it out. Alright, so by May 1693, most of the big witch trials were pretty much wrapped up. Yeah, the Massachusetts House of Representatives even passed some resolutions to clear the names of those accused witches. But get this, actually, fully clearing all the victims' names took ages. Like, it wasn't until 2001 that 5 of them were officially cleared by name. So, when people got convicted and executed back in the day, it didn't just end there, you know? They left behind families, property issues, and a whole lot of drama in their communities. It was tough. The colony did try to make it right a little bit. Like, they paid some reparations, like £7 and 6 shillings for Martha Carrier's family in Andover. But honestly, that's way less than what we'd think is fair today, right? It's a real reminder of how things used to be. These trials are super important because they show us how fear, crazy religious vibes, quick legal moves, and social drama can all mix together and lead to some serious injustice. It's wild. They really serve as a warning for us, and in American culture, they've turned into this metaphor for a witch hunt, you know? Like when people make baseless or politically charged accusations. Crazy, right? Just goes to show how things can spiral out of control. Let's talk about the term witch hunt, the way we use it today to describe those crazy campaigns against people who are seen as enemies or part of some conspiracy. Yeah, that phrase really got its punch from the whole Salem Witch Trials situation. And shout out to Arthur Miller for his play, The Crucible, which came out in 1953. He really used those trials as a way to talk about McCarthyism and all that drama. Pretty wild. So next time you hear witch hunt, remember where it all came from. The Salem Witch Trials took place primarily between February 1692 and May 1693 in Colonial, Massachusetts. More than 200 people were accused. 19, including 14 women and 5 men, were executed by hanging. 1 man died by pressing. Dozens more died in jail. The use of spectral evidence, social tensions, religious zeal, and legal irregularities all contributed to the tragedy. Over time, the colony admitted the injustice, passed exonerations, and memorials. Given the scale of the tragedy and the haunted history, many paranormal researchers and ghost tours operators in Salem claim that the spirit world remains active. For instance, visitors to the witch house and Proctor's Ledge report cold spots, orbs of light, unexplained noises, a heavy atmosphere of sorrow. The reasoning within paranormal circles is that the violent, unjust deaths in 1692 left residual energy, the kind of trauma energy that can echo or linger. Salem today features numerous ghost tours. For example, the most haunted places in Salem listings that link the witch trial era directly to reported paranormal activity. The tours often highlight that the high volume of trauma, executions, and fear during 1692 provide fertile ground for hauntings and ghostly activity. One fun fact: some ghost photos from tours show unexplained light phenomena. The operators sometimes attribute them to spiritual residue of the victims. Over time, the trials have been reinterpreted in various cultural forms like literature, theater, film, and tourism, with Salem now calling itself Witch City. This city brings in visitors through a mix of history and spooky entertainment, including the Salem police logo featuring a witch on a broomstick. Its legacy of injustice adds depth. As the phrase witch hunt becomes popular and a cautionary tale in U.S. history, with many works dramatizing the events, such as The Crucible, the Salem Witch Trials is significant historically as a demonstration of colonial legal injustice, socially as an example of the dangers of hysteria and scapegoating, culturally as a site for the supernatural and haunting tourism, and in paranormal communities as a haunted site with a ghostly imprint. Its modern pop culture uses elements like ghost tours, witch shops, and metaphors, with commercial or spiritual appropriation. The last official victim's exoneration was on Halloween, 2001. The chilling tale of Salem's events, spanning 3 centuries, endures as a wake-up call for the delicate balance between faith, fear, and reason. The witch trials were a harrowing reflection of humanity's response to uncertainty and compassion loss. The haunting ghosts echo in the town's night air, haunting visitors who claim to encounter spectral figures. While supernatural or historical interpretations may matter, the mirror of human nature in Salem remains unmatched. And yet, maybe there's something more, something that never left. The energy of so many lives cut short, the sorrow, the injustice. Can such things truly fade? Some say Salem's lingering chill is proof that emotion and memory can outlive flesh, seeping into the very soil of our world. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, the tragedy of Salem reminds us that the unseen, be it spirit, fear, or faith, has the power to shape reality itself. Good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this year's Halloween episode on They Are Watching Us. We look forward to seeing you soon. Have a safe and happy Halloween, everyone. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're as into UFOs and all that cool disclosure stuff as I am, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. It really helps me keep the good content coming your way on this super fascinating topic. Seriously, I appreciate it so much. Catch you later.